Good afternoon, everybody. Are we all set? Could I have item number 1, declarations of interest, please? No declarations of interest? I don't think voting is coming up at all, is it? So. Okay, so we'll go on to number 2, minutes of the previous meeting. Does everybody agree with the minutes?
Happy to propose, Chairman.
Thank you.
I'll second that, Chairman. I do like the bit about the apologies and the vacancy.
Is there any other matters arising? No, thank you. I have no urgent items. Number 4, agenda number 4, decisions taken under delegated powers. I'll hand over to Sue.
Thank you, Chairman. This is just the annual report that you get that tells you what we've been doing. As you can see, we've done a considerable number of temporary events over the winter. Obviously not as many as in the summer, but still a considerable number that take work. And we've had a transfer of a licensed premises, which was the Turk's Head on St Agnes, and designated premises supervisors just change. So, if there's any questions.
Sorry,
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to ask the officer, I think we've discussed it in the past, that we were increasingly worried that the money that we were actually allocated for a TENS licence wasn't actually covering the administrative workload. I don't know whether or not we can make any representations anywhere. Is that still your view, that we're actually not covered for the amount of time involved in this?
This is true. There have been a number of attempts by various groups nationally to raise the government-laid level of fees, which have come to nothing at the moment. I don't know whether it's worth attempting to write a letter. I think it would just really get lost at the moment.
Thank you. I think it's wise that we note it.
Sorry, Avril.
Thank you. It's an odd sort of question, but over the special licences, some of the pubs seem to shut just before 12 and reopen at 1 in the morning. Now, why are they allowed to do that?
Why not? The point is, it's a temporary event notice, which means that they can open at the times they choose for a temporary period. What I think you're referring to is very often their basic licence will stop at 11:30.
Yes, certainly.
And then they will stop serving for half an hour while they regroup.
And open again after midnight.
And open again after midnight. What it does is 2 things. One, it allows them to clear down a bit, regroup and clear the place up a bit and sort people out, gives them a bit brief respite against drinking too much. And the other thing it does is it means that they don't count the half an hour as a day. That half an hour would cost them a whole day out of the 15 licences they're allowed.
Oh, I see.
And they do actually stop serving. I have been there and seen it.
Okay.
Not convinced.
Chairman of Council.
Yeah, I'll propose the recommendation. My concerns are much more with enforcing licence conditions and the behaviour, the antisocial behaviour around than this. But thank you for the content of the report, so I'll propose that.
Have we got a second, please? Thank you. Everybody in favour? Item number 5, fixed site trading. I'll hand it back to you, Sue.
Thank you, Chairman. This is just a report to give members the detail on the meeting that we held with yourself, Councillor Nellams and Councillor Grottick to site up the area at the back of the town hall and who got it. But I also really sort of just want to make it clear that this was taken, the decisions were taken as a result of seeking sustainability and the service that had been previously offered, which was recordable.
At the last meeting, I did introduce the notion of a third site, which would have kept all three tenders happy. I wondered if that had been progressed any further.
We are working on that, and in fact a considerable piece of work is underway. I'm not really able to report much at this stage, and what I really envisaged was perhaps that members would be prepared either to meet as a group informally to give their opinion on what might come up, what might be presented to us by the planning department, or whether a small group would be most suitable. I think that's a decision for members, but I think it's important that members have an overview of the sites that are suggested and the difficulties that are aligned with each one. But I'm not able to bring those to you at the moment because they're not finalised.
I mean, obviously, we don't have any site, not even the town hall site, which is ideal in all respects. So, I mean, that's always going to be a problem. But, I look forward to that. If we can have an informal group to discuss it and bring recommendations to the next meeting, that would be very good, I think.
I'm wondering if you would give your permission for that small group or the entire committee, if you met informally, to take a decision on the sites that were presented to you, simply because the season marches on and the next licensing meeting will not be until June.
I don't have a problem with it other than informal groups cannot take a decision. I mean, they can make a recommendation to full council.
They can make a recommendation to me as an officer.
Right.
And then you can act on that?
If you give your permissions now.
Well, I'd be interested to know what colleagues think of that.
Councillor Mumford.
Yes, could I know the chairman has had a letter, and I've had a letter from Paul and Liz Osborne about the site.
This matter is not on the agenda, and I really can't allow you to discuss it.
Well, if we're talking about fixed places...
Move on to the next item, actually.
I was going to say, I think this will be item number 6.
Sorry, it's on the next item. Sorry, beg your pardon.
Councillor Grottick.
Thank you, Chairman. If I could just move us back just a little. We could, if we agreed to meet... you were asked for opinions, I believe, as to whether or not it should be a small group. I think the subject of street trading is quite...
It's not street trading, it's
fixed sites. Okay, sorry. The subject of fixed sites is quite a controversial one. I think the decision should be shared between all members of the licensing committee. I would feel quite... in quite a vulnerable position if I was asked to be part of a small group making such a decision. I think it should be open perhaps informally to all members of this committee if everyone agrees with that. What I would say is the first full council of the next council is May the 26th, and I agree with you, it is moving into the season but not into the busy part of the season. That decision, if already agreed informally between ourselves perhaps, could be taken forward to May the 26th for full ratification, could it not?
Councillor Saville.
Chairman, can I bring a close to this item on the agenda, because we're talking about the next item. And therefore I propose that we approve the 2 fixed tenders, that is actually in item 4.
Apologies, I take your point.
Thank you. Have I got a seconder, please? All in favour? Thank you. Right, now we go on to the next item. Fixed site expressions of interest. Do you still wish to talk, Councillor Saville?
Oh no, sorry, Chairman, but I think we have to. I was going to make a second point that PERDA starts at the end of this month, and we shouldn't be actually taking controversial decisions that might be controversial in the community during that time.
So what you're saying is you would either like a special meeting of the licensing committee or an informal discussion to take to full council?
Can I hop in? If I can. I think we know you're actively looking for a third spot. You're going to try and present us with something. So informally, if we could meet and we actually come to a decision where we say, yes, we like that spot, can we then give you the power to forward that without having to go to full council? Because it is, even though you say it's not very far on, May, the whatever it is actually quite a long way. If you've got a business and you're not going to start till then, I think you mentioned that we could present it to you informally as the officer.
If you take the decision that as a group now you want a third site and you're prepared to arrive at that decision, I don't see the difficulty in you meeting to decide it.
Could I just ask, apart from the third member that didn't get a fixed site, are there other people applying?
There haven't been, but there have been expressions of interest.
Thank you.
Fixed site.
Yes.
Councillor Mumford.
Well, no, if we're going to have an informal meeting, then I'll leave my discussion till then, I think. Wait and see what we decide. Because I don't think we can. I don't think it can be thrashed out here now.
And it's
Because they haven't come up with a place which we can consider yet.
No.
There's just various places that I think it can't be.
So then, basically what you're saying is you would either prefer a special meeting to look at this particularly with a decision to go to council at the end of May.
No, I think that's too late.
No reason why you, as a licensing committee, can't take a decision. Have a special meeting.
Or can we do? Have you got any sites in mind?
There are, I believe, about 5
Really?
that they are looking at.
But we can't discuss it now and get it
No.
over and done with now?
Because I don't know what they are.
Oh, right. Right.
Simple.
Councillor Goddard.
Thank you, Chair. Without further discussion, in view of what colleagues have said, if we just look at page 8, 3.3, it appears that we have already accepted in principle a certain protocol going back to the last meeting.
Where are we? Page 8.
Page 8, 3.3 at the top.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yes,
I've
for
got
the
that
third
noted down,
unsuccessful
which is said we're looking.
Yeah.
Therefore, the
Yeah.
wider discussion could obviously remain for a later date. Yeah, we've agreed in principle, my argument would be. Therefore, it seems reasonable that we could take such a decision.
Chairman, if it were felt advisable to reconvene briefly the licensing committee, then that would be possible before the 27th of March in any case.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How long is it going to take you to get these sites and to present it to a licensing committee, sir?
I don't know, but it is only, the 3rd of March, isn't it, today?
Yeah.
I would hope that he would be able to come up with something between then and 27th.
We're not talking rocket science, are we?
No, not really.
No, but they are doing a lot of other things, and it's sort of being fitted in between it.
If I might add, I think that agenda item 6 is material to to which sites will be considered possible or not anyway. So if we move on with agenda item 6, that might facilitate the process.
Yeah. Can I point you to 1.3? In particular, members need to consider the 25 metres boundary from an existing trader.
Sorry, where are you? You're on 1.6?
I'm on night, yeah.
1.3.
Page 11. Back on
Sorry, I
to
turned right for the frame, didn't I? Yeah, sorry.
1.3,
Yes.
talking about the...
You need to
Chairman.
consider that.
We need, yeah. Sorry.
No, I was when you'd finished. If I might just comment, 1.3. I think the 25-metre boundary might already be a thing of the past, because in the very nature of the existing fixed trading sites that we've agreed behind the town hall, there's certainly not 25 metres between the two businesses there. So although it was between them and normal premises, nonetheless we already have accepted the principle of businesses trading next to each other.
But,
So I think
but they are kind of compatible. They don't pay business rates or...
No, but it's the notion of competition between businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, if you say members have felt that this size of boundary provided a reasonable distance to provide competition without making either trader unviable, based on that argument, we've already gone that step.
Yes, but they don't trade the same.
Well, they are two hot,
traders, but
they are
don't...
two hot food traders,
Yeah,
sellers.
Different
it's not two
vendors.
fish and chips, is it? If you
It's
put
different food.
if you put a burger van, just for instance, if you put a burger van and fish and chip van on Holgate's Green, you would be right in competition with the shop there.
But I think we're being slightly too narrow in the definitions of food there. I mean, they are both hot food vendors. The public has a choice whether it goes to A or B, but nonetheless, they are both in competition next to each other on the site in any case. So I think it's become a little irrelevant. That's my opinion. Anyway.
Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Pritchard. I think the key differential for me is that businesses in a fixed building have overheads and pay a considerable amount of business rates, and fixed site traders do not. That's the differential for me.
Sorry, if I may, I accept that totally. But the notion of viable competition is what I'm talking about now. And the distances between businesses.
I accept that, but I still think that the differential and the distance, if you like, should be between a business that has overheads and pays business rates, substantial business rates, and a business that does not. I think that is the differential. I agree that we have two fixed site traders trading in close proximity to each other, but they knew that when they came to the site.
Yeah, and also they don't sell the same things. As it says here, selling the same goods or services. I think that's the difference.
What does our agreed policy say? Because that's what we should be adhering to.
We've got it here, so...
I'm in opposition to you, remember.
The council will have regard to the following when giving consent for a proposed site. The licensing section shall not ordinarily grant a street trading consent within a radius of 25 metres from an existing building, including a consented street trader. Dealing in goods of a similar nature, subject to each application being considered on their own merits. Due consideration will be given to parking and traffic restrictions as set out in the public safety section. The Atlantic Slipway is not a fixed site. It's street trading.
Going back to what Mrs. Pritchard just read out, I think the word ordinarily perhaps is not useful in this context because that changes everything anyway. I thought that the purpose of this report was possibly to make a recommendation which would redefine policy.
I need to define the policy because it was specific to the rear of the town hall.
Yeah, no, but I thought that's why we were talking about this now. I thought that was...
That is the point. Because in the contract, the agreement with the traders at the back of the town hall, there was no mention of any distance between them because it wasn't relevant on that site. And now we're talking about different sites. I need to perhaps I need your input.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I thought we were seeking to redefine this, yes.
Yeah.
Well, from my understanding, the
So really, we're saying at this meeting we can drop the 25-yard rule if we decide. And then that gives us much more scope. But then there's resistance to that because of people. But Scilly is so small that, you know, if we're looking for more fixed sites, where do you go? Because
there's
Well, I
obviously
believe-
5 on the cards.
well, I'd love to know where I'd love to have this meeting, see all those 5 sites, and
This-
make
this-
a decision
yeah, I think
for
this
the
is
sake
what-
of the third person that wants to run a business.
I was under the impression that the third person who put in for the site behind the town hall has his own generator and was prepared to move around the island. So is that changed?
Forgive me.
That would not be a fixed
not
site,
really the
would be-
subject of this report.
No.
No.
I think we're talking about principles and policy, not individual businesses, and I think it is important that we stick to that, really.
So if we can stick to principles and policy, are you still in agreement that we keep the 25 metres boundary?
Yeah, well, that's a proposal to an appropriate boundary between businesses. The time a trader's vehicle can remain on site. That's the 2 recommendations.
No, it isn't. No, 25 metres.
It's not a
25 metres is actually, you know, it's across this room.
Councillor Mumford.
Sorry.
Sorry. We've got to decide whether we're thinking of shopkeepers who pay business rates and have everything attending to that, or to dispense with the 25-metre boundary so that, like, anybody could go outside anywhere within the regulatory places and sell their wares, whatever they were selling. The hot food I'm talking about.
No,
No, I'm not.
no, I'm sorry, you're not talking about just hot food. You're talking about somebody who wants to rent a site from the council to permanently fix themselves on that
On
site.
that site. Thank you.
And
Sorry.
I'm saying, should we look at these sites to ensure that they are remaining 25 metres from any other person selling something similar?
Right, I would like to make a proposal that the 25-metre boundary stays in place.
Have we got a seconder for that, please?
Yes, I think I can second that.
All in favour? Anybody against? Abstain? We keep the 25 metres.
Thank you, Chairman. And the time that a trader's vehicle can remain on site, under the contract at the rear of the town hall, they can stay on site all day, but they must remove their vehicle after trading ceases for the day. This is in order to ensure that we don't get a derelict vehicle left on site, and that they maintain a roadworthy condition and all the other sorts of things associated with the Road Traffic Act.
I am happy to propose that, but I have a question as to what constitutes removal from a site, because it did come to my attention that on many occasions removal from a site was approximately the width of the road, and roadworthiness was not necessarily something which seemed to emanate from the vehicle.
I hear what you say. However, the vehicle was removed from the site. It did remain apparently taxed and insured, because otherwise the police would have picked that up, as they can do now from the number plate. And consequently, when it moved to the public land, we had no...
Sure, but I think, especially from the smiles around the table, that everybody knows what I'm talking
Exactly.
about.
It was a difficult one, but...
I am happy to propose that, but I do think there needs to be a little bit of seriousness about the way the conditions are applied. Good luck with that.
Councillor Nevins.
I just wanted to look at that piece that said vehicles can remain on site until the last sale of the day. It just seems a bit ambiguous. You know, if somebody comes along every 10 minutes and you're going on to 1 o'clock in the morning, how does that work? Last sale of the day. I'm not sure what that really means.
You could put a time limit on
We
them.
can. I just wondered how long it, you know, well, I don't know what happens at the moment. I should know, but I don't.
I think they have to cease trading by 9 now.
So would it be that? That's
Yeah,
what it,
that seems reasonable.
that's perfectly all right. Yeah, I just thought the idea of them there till 1 o'clock in the morning,
No.
frying away.
Not a good idea.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, so you clarified that we already have enshrined that 9 o'clock is the latest sale that they can make. Is that
think
right?
it is that.
That seems reasonable. I would say that I think that some of the other sites we're considering, it might be, from the point of view of the environment, it might be more of a need to have the vehicle removed, because we might decide that one of those fixed trading sites is actually in quite a beautiful part of town, and that we might actually want the vehicle removed when it's finished trading, so that obviously people can wander around in the late evening and not fall over a fixed site trading
But that's
vehicle.
part of the. Sorry, that's part of the regulation anyway. They have to go. So yeah, quite right.
Chairman, can I just ask, when these sites are identified, will they have to come in for planning permission?
Apparently, some of them will.
So that will delay.
It'll delay the process a little.
Quite a lot.
Chairman.
Sorry.
Chairman, I just want, under 1.4, we've clarified when the last sale of the day is in time. I think that should be included in this item. And also must be removed from the site. But is there any specification of where it should be removed to? What is the ruling about that? Because I think Councillor Gottick made the point it could be removed to a really beautiful place. We want this policy to work for the community, don't we?
What would you suggest?
With agreement, by agreement with the licensee.
I could put something in the contract to the effect that they must move to a place agreed with the licensing department. But the problem is that if they're a vehicle that is taxed and insured, there is no... they can park anywhere. In a legal parking space, yeah.
Is there... Sorry.
Councillor Mumford.
Is there a specific reason why they can't stay there where they are? Behind the town hall?
As I explained, because we might be left with a derelict vehicle.
Oh, I see.
And it also ensures that the vehicle is
It's roadworthy.
up to the roadworthy,
Yeah.
road traffic. Yes.
Yeah.
Councillor Bennett.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm calling you Councillor Bennett. You're finished. Any more? So, we had a proposer. Have we got a second?
So
All in favour?
can I just be absolutely clear that you say the vehicle can stay on site until 9 p.m. when it last sale 9 p.m. And it must be removed once trading has ceased.
May I just ask then, what happens in case of special events? For example, the Gig Championship and things like that, when people do stay open a lot longer. Does that mean we're going to be limiting their trading hours?
You could make an exception.
Well, no, I just want to know, because the trouble is, we take decisions in very good faith, but they can have unintended consequences.
Let's say that at gig weekend later trading would be permitted till...
Yeah, but there might be other events too.
exactly.
Has there been a time limit on it before?
I would leave it
I'm
as it
sorry,
was.
I can't.
Sorry.
Sorry, Chairman.
Sorry, Molly.
You or Councillor?
Councillor Mumford.
Has there been a time limit on it before?
I think at the moment, and I think it's 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Can we have a special dispensation for anybody who attends at some time? I mean, they obviously get special dispensation to trade anyway until 9 o'clock.
No, the
Or after
10s
9
are
o'clock.
specific to the Licensing Act 2003.
Councillor Grotto.
Thank you, Chairman. Might I suggest a way forward that a dispensation to remain open later be undertaken with the licence and in discussion with the licensing officer and the chair and vice chair of the licensing committee or the chair and vice chair of council.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Like that as a proposal.
Yes, please.
I propose that any dispensation from this agreed formula be discussed with the licensing officer and the chair and vice chair of the licensing committee, or in their absence, the chair and the vice chair of council.
All in favour? Thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes the meeting. Thank you. Thank you very much.